Real talk, I didn't even know The Quick and the Dead was directed by Sam Raimi until, like, maybe last year? Now, full disclosure, I've never been the biggest fan of westerns. I mean, there are some that I've seen that I've enjoyed, obviously. Stuff like The Harder They Fall, Django Unchained, and just to throw a classic in there, Back to the Future 3. But I've never seen anything with Clint Eastwood from the Sergio Leone westerns that he did, or anything starring John Wayne, and in that case I probably never will, because I just do not care. But I do acknowledge that there was definitely a time in the late 80s and early 90s when Hollywood was definitely trying to bring westerns back to resurgence in a sort of way, and maybe you could probably thank the Young Guns films for that. I don't know. But I do feel like it was something that you saw definitely more on television and basic cable, as far as stuff like, Lonesome Dove, or the Tom Selleck Quigley movies, or even to a lesser extent, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. But as far as bringing westerns back in a theatrical sense and having them be prominent, it was kind of a non-starter outside of a few exceptions. You obviously had stuff like Unforgiven and Tombstone and maybe Wyatt Earp, but that was about it. So it comes as no surprise that when we get to 1995 and the release of The Quick and the Dead, it kind of fell on deaf ears, or eyes in this case. But bottom line was that it was not something people were really here for, but definitely kind of grew a cult following in the past 25 years or so since it came out. Now, the big thing with this was seeing Sharon Stone in the lead role of this film, and she was also serving as a co-producer, and she also used that power to have her choice of director, which in this case turned out to be genre filmmaker Sam Raimi. And obviously there were a lot of people that didn't really get why she would want him for this particular job, and she really fought hard for it, even threatening to walk off the project if the studio didn't go with him as the director. She even fought hard to get Leonardo DiCaprio on as part of the cast, even paying for his salary out of part of her own. So you have to imagine that's some dedication right there. Now, having seen the film for myself, I have to say that, in the words of Leonardo DiCaprio's character from Django Unchained, this was a good bit of fun. I was genuinely impressed with everything that was on display in The Quick and the Dead, and it's definitely thanks in part to Sam Raimi being able to bring his own unique style as a director to a genre that you wouldn't think would work for the types of tricks that he employs, those fast tilting zoom-in shots, those crazy montages that use a lot of negative space and floating objects, and there's so much creativity to this that you get the sense that you're not watching a traditional Western. And make no mistake, you are not watching a traditional Western when you watch The Quick and the Dead, because yes, there are still some strong dramatic beats, there's a lot of tension between characters, but you also have moments in this film that feel like they are taken straight out of a Looney Tunes short. When characters get shot, it's almost played for laughs, the way some characters will get shot and not realize it, and then they'll see a beam of light shooting out of their chest because the sunlight behind them is shining through the hole in their chest that's been made from being shot. You see people look at someone who's just been shot in the head through the hole that has been created by that character being shot in the head. There's even one scene where a character is shot so hard that he just does a full-on backflip. There's so much silliness to some of these scenes in this movie, and it's crazy how the tone never really breaks. There's so much absurdity to some of these scenes, and we're still never taken out of this really gritty, traditional story of revenge from the perspective of Sharon Stone's character, who most only refer to as the Lady. We have this whole setup with the Lady arriving in the town of Redemption, which is run by Gene Hackman's John Herod, just as they are about to have their annual quick draw competition, which has brought a slew of nefarious characters to the town for bragging rights as well as a cash prize. There's a lot more to the competition going on than we first think, and you just kind of see all of these different personalities on display, and it's just fun to watch, but also very tense, because there are moments in this film that are extremely dark, but Raimi as a director has a great knack for being able to bring levity to everything that's going on. And again, you just have this great cast that is led by Sharon Stone, who is bringing the tenacity, who's bringing the intensity to this character. And especially when you see her in scenes with Gene Hackman, who's playing the quote-unquote villain of the film, you definitely see that tension. And there was especially one scene in particular where Hackman slaps Sharon Stone, and that was unscripted. So the reaction of Sharon Stone lunging at him in the scene was genuine. But then you also have Russell Crowe in there as this preacher character who's looking for redemption after a lifetime of being an outlaw, who doesn't want to participate in the competition, he doesn't want to kill anyone, he's been down this road, and it's kind of crazy to think that this was actually Russell Crowe's first American film, which came out 6 months before his role in Virtuosity, which most people, including myself, would have assumed was his introductory role to American films. But again, we also have Leonardo DiCaprio as the kid, and he's just cocky, overconfident, very much about his swagger and being a ladies' man, and also wanting to build a reputation for himself as the fastest gun in the West. So you kind of have these moments where he's just kind of showing off, and you wonder where it's going to go with this character, but you can't help but root for him. So it was definitely a good call on Sharon Stone to fight for him, and damn it if I must say, this is probably one of the big inspirations for Ruby Rose's look when she first came out on the scene, because it's kind of uncanny. But you also have a strong supporting cast, a lot of reliable character actors. You've got Keith David, you've got Pat Hingle, you've got Mark Boone Jr., Tobin Bell. You even have this great turn from Lance Henriksen as Ace Hanlon, who is much better as a fast talker than he is as a gunslinger. And just looking at this character, I felt like if you thought about it in an alternate universe, he was the ancestor of a very similar character that he played in an episode of Tales from the Crypt. So I thought that in general was pretty cool. Overall, I'm just kicking myself for not having watched this film sooner, not realizing that it was a Sam Raimi film, and just seeing how much style and grit that he brings to the whole film, even though he's working within a genre where you would, again, expect to not see some of those signature tricks that he would pull off. And it's amazing how he's able to maintain the overall tone of the film, which is still very serious, kind of dour at points, but you also have this sort of sweeping epic quality that you expect from a Western, especially thanks to the score from one of my favorite composers, Alan Silvestri, and you just have an overall fun film that was sadly overlooked at a time when the genre was trying to have some prominence and just didn't stick the landing in general. But if you've got a Netflix account, I definitely recommend you checking this out, because The Quick and the Dead is just a fantastic film. Hey guys, thanks for watching. As always, if you've got your own thoughts or opinions on The Quick and the Dead that you would like to share, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends and family, and if you'd like to keep up to date on more at Random Videos, you can click the subscribe button right over here.